I'm just gonna have the list in my hands here because we're gonna talk about honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
These are the shows that we like but didn't like enough to put on our list.
The most obvious miss for me was I didn't put Over the Garden Wall on my list, so
honorary number 4.
Move everything down. yeah, I would put Over the Garden Wall in between Hunter x Hunter and Daria.
All right.
But the show that I had the hardest time not putting on the list was Fairly Odd Parents.
Oh yeah.
And
that show too.
I mean, okay, that show's jumped the shark like 3 times.
Yes.
And
they now have a dog and a baby.
and there's like a girl that he's sharing his fairies with. They did stupid things with this show. But
it's one of those shows that should just be canceled and be a sign of the times instead of keep being on and trying to become part of the times.
And I love Butch Hartman, and I love Danny Phantom too. That's another honorable mention. But Fairly Odd Parents is one of those shows that I just like. It doesn't have like that much like continuous story or that many heartfelt moments. There are some heartfelt moments here and there.
It's a cartoon.
But it makes me laugh like few other shows do. It's great.
There's some really great quotables in it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Just great random characters. Friggin' Cosmo.
Cosmo's great. That guy, what's that voice actor's name?
Oh,
my goodness.
Darren Norris.
Yes, Darren Norris. He's incredibly funny. He plays his dad and Cosmo.
And Jorgen von Strangle.
Hilarious. He's really, really funny dude.
So, yeah.
And he was Gordy in Ned's Declassified
Survival
Guide.
Yes.
You watched that show?
Classic.
Honorable mention, I gotta put Invader Zim. It's been a long time since I've watched it. Darker than Billy and Mandy. Just deeply, dankly dark. But I think it's hysterical. Again, it's been a long time since I watched it. That's why I didn't put it on my list. Normally I would, probably, because I've seen a little bit of it recently, and it really holds up. It's really, really, really funny, and kind of ahead of its time, and kind of ahead of the age group it was marketed towards, for sure. But I really love just kind of how gross and funny it is.
How the fan base for that show happened is kind of like what we expected. To happen with Gravity Falls, right, where it's
like
it comes
Hot
in
Topic kids
way later, but also like a super cult show.
Sure, yeah. Invader Zim is definitely the cult cartoon. I would say,
Another honorable mention, gotta go with Jimmy Neutron. I love Jimmy Neutron.
Totally. Got a blast. Felt like saying that.
Got a blast.
Got a blast.
That's one of my dad's favorite cartoons. He loves.
My dad really loves that show.
He loves Jimmy Neutron.
I think my friend Taylor's dad really loves it. That's a dad show.
Yeah.
It's kind of a dad show.
It really is.
Yeah.
And
it
has one of the greatest cartoon dads ever, Hugh Neutron.
Hugh Neutron is a really funny cartoon.
He is great.
Donut Boy. Shout out to the Donut Boy song.
And he loves ducks and.
It makes sense that the show became a meme because the slightly dated CG is a little creepy, and so memes just ate it up, which I think is really funny, especially all the Bulby stuff. just Google image Bulby memes. Some of them are pretty great.
I really like the show. When I was growing up, I would probably say that I liked Jimmy Neutron more, but looking back on it, I have more fond memories of watching Fairly Odd Parents. But they're both great. I love... It was a long time before I realized that the Jimmy Neutron movie was like the pilot for the show.
Yeah, I saw the movie in theaters, so that's why I remember it chronologically.
Yeah.
But a lot of kids grew up with the cartoon, then saw the movie later.
Yeah. And I really like the movie. It was
great. I'm peeing in the shower.
I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
Go.
Good stuff. Yeah.
But that was in the first batch of films nominated for Best Animated Feature.
Yeah, that's right.
Jimmy Neutron nominated for an Oscar.
Yes, it was. It also made a ton of money, and voice actors love to talk about it because it was one of the only...
No celebrity voices.
Yeah, there's no celebrity voices in that animated movie, which is crazy to think. But voice actors are really proud of that one. Yes. They're like, ha, look at that. Another great Robert Paulson voice, Carl Weezer. Carl Weezer is one of the funniest cartoon voices ever. I talked about it a bunch of times already. Powerpuff Girls. Gotta give a shout out to
Powerpuff Girls is also on mine.
Great, strong female characters. Great, hilarious villains. Mojo Jojo is one of the funniest villains in cartoon history.
Yes.
Him is one of the creepiest. There's a bunch of great creepy villains.
Him is one of the creepiest.
Yeah.
Powerpuff Girls has my favorite episode of television of all time.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
And it's called Meet the Beat-Alls.
Yes. Yes.
And
is the entire episode?
Okay, so Mojo Jojo decides to get together with
it's
like
him, Fuzzy
Lumpkins, and I think it's
is it one of the green guys?
No, it's the spoiled brat, the girl.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
I don't remember her name, unfortunately.
I know the voice actress is Jennifer Hale.
Oh, nice! That's a Jennifer Hale character. That's cool.
But they get together and they call themselves the Beat-Alls.
First, they call themselves the Silver Beat-Alls, and then they decide that they're the Beat. It's a Beatles parody,
and it is the funniest thing. Every single line, once the Beat-Alls come together, every single line is a reference. Hey!
Boom.
Every single line is a reference to the Beatles, and I love every second of it. It's just like constant. You won't first time you won't comprehend all of them because there's just so many of them.
When I was a kid, I watched it, and there were a few where I was like, "Oh, that was a Beatles song or whatever." But for the most part, I'd be like, "Okay." Like the professor gives a speech, which is just the lyrics to. I think it's "Let It Be," right? Is it?
Let's see.
I don't remember which one. Anyway,
let's see.
Really funny.
Something like that.
Another show, Ed, and Eddy. I totally grew up with this show. I had two other friends, so I think most like trio of friends groups that were kids around this time. One of them was Ed, one of them was Ed, one of them was Eddy. It was just one of those things. Really funny characters, really funny writing. A show that went a lot longer than I realized it did, but it actually kind of did different things. Most of it took place on the cul-de-sac, obviously, but then they would go to like junior high. And I didn't know that. And I watched some of those episodes. Some of them were actually pretty funny. Oh. It kind of held up. That was one of those shows where when I went back to watch it, I realized I already knew all of it. Like I watched an episode. You didn't realize
how well you knew it.
Yeah, I watched an episode and I was like, I remember every line. Like it was really strange. But that was a huge. I watched that show a lot as a kid, so I definitely had to keep that as an honorable mention. Very funny characters.
So you saw I hope you saw our favorite Disney movies. And Lilo and Stitch was my number one. And I have to give a shout out to Lilo and Stitch the series.
Yeah. You and I both, we played Lilo and Stitch a lot.
Yeah. It ruled my life. You do not realize how many experiments I drew in the 3rd grade. I probably drew about another 600. It was just... Yeah. It was just such a fun show. And you're still with Lilo and Stitch and Pleakley and Jumba and fun characters. It's a great show. It's actually surprisingly hard to find.
Really?
Yes. I am gonna... I don't think I've tried Kiss Cartoon yet. That's where we don't condone...
Whatever site that's bad that we don't look at.
Kiss Cartoon.
Watch cartoons online is good too.
Yeah. But that's another show that I just love. That is one of the most defining in my childhood shows.
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember that show was huge for you. And it was pretty big for me too, but it was definitely your show. Courage the Cowardly Dog. I gotta mention Courage the Cowardly Dog because a lot of kids did not like this show growing up. They thought it was too creepy. Yeah, so a lot of kids thought it was too creepy. I, as a kid, for whatever reason, I thought it was hysterical in a contextual way. I thought what was so funny about it was how disturbing and creepy these characters were, how they should not be in a kid's show, and I found that to be very funny growing up. For some reason, I got it. I don't know why. I'm not smart or anything. I don't know why I got the joke as a kid, but I did, and you go back and watch them, and they're still creepy, and it's really great. It was one of those shows where it's another show where it's the same formula over and over, and yet because of the different creepy things that they're kind of going up against, each episode is fresh and interesting and funny, and just some of there are episodes that are way creepier than you would think they would be based on the concept. There's an episode where they go to a banana world where all the people are banana people. So you would think, oh, that's really silly. It's one of the creepiest episodes. It's really strange. For some reason, it's just kind of disturbing. Anyway, I wanted to give that show a shout out. Also, Teen Titans is on here, which you already talked about.
It's great.
Watched that show a lot growing up. Did you already get through all yours?
I have one more.
Okay, what's yours?
It's the original Pokemon series.
Oh, yeah, that goes for both of us, for sure, yeah.
If you say...
Not a show that necessarily holds up.
If you say, I want to be the very best,
in
then
a room
you
full of
you have
millennials.
to say the whole thing will get said.
The whole song.
And it's so much fun. I love Pokemon.
Yeah. It's fun, man.
And
Pokemon Go is kind of out of style now, which is too bad.
my roommates and I still play it.
Oh, really good for you guys.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It makes me walk around.
That's good.
And
I do that too.
It's like, it's not great, but there are great moments.
Sure.
And fun characters. Brock and Misty and Ash are great.
For a show that is literally a commercial, like in the same vein of shows in the 80s, like G.I. Joe and Transformers and My Little Pony, this, for some reason, they actually took some care into the characters. Like, they actually are unique, funny characters, and
it's actually
there's a reason kids were obsessed with it. It wasn't just they were hypnotized.
It's actually
part of it.
a really funny show.
But it has
especially Team Rocket.
Yeah, Team Rocket, they were really funny characters.
Team Rocket is easily the best thing about the show.
There was some small amount of care put into it, enough to where kids understood that.
Yeah.
Just a handful of other shows here I'm going to quickly talk about, just get them out of the way. Batman the Animated Series. I have not watched the show in a really, really, really long time. That's
I've
why...
only seen about 5 or 10 episodes.
Yeah, so this is a show I kind of grew up with, because again, he and I watched a lot of Kids WB growing up, because there was a good amount of my childhood where I didn't have cable. And this show is what introduced me to Batman, to his villains, and all these different characters. It is the first thing I think of when I think of Batman.